Issue 11 of Sabrina from November of 2000. This is volume 2, which is based off of the cartoon series, which I've never actually seen. I've seen the live action sitcom all the way through, but I've never actually seen this cartoon. There's a bit of a meta thing going on with this particular issue where Sabrina writes into Betty and Veronica. So all of the Archie comics around this time have a monthly advice column where people would write in with questions and they would get a response from the characters. This is exactly in line with the kind of questions that actually got published in the issues. I'm not sure if that's all they got for questions, but that's very similar to what ended up getting published. The advice that she gets is to take an interest in his hobbies. This ends up not being the complete response that she gets, but she goes and talks to Harvey, who starts talking about slot car racing, and she mistakenly thinks that's what his interest in. But it turns out it's old news. Salem points out that she didn't finish reading the response. After telling you to show an interest in his hobbies, Betty goes on to say, be careful not to overdo it. Remember to be yourself. That's who you want him to like. Yeah, and then Veronica adds, or buy his house and make him your tenant. That will get his attention. So these responses were in character, and going through the responses is like kind of funny. So Betty has like a nice responsible answer, and Veronica's are like a little bit, a little bit more sinister. I'll show you the ones from this issue soon, and going through how the different characters responded to things is kind of funny. So like the letters section in a Cheryl Blossom issue is very different than the letter section in an issue of Betty. Anyway, it turns out Harvey's actual new interest is in magic cards, spelt Magique, which is really funny. This is around the year 2000. And I guess, I don't know, I don't feel like magic cards were really that popular at the time, but I guess they must have been. My older brother had been playing Magic, but I feel like I was a little bit young for it. I played it a bit, but the rules, I don't think I really had a grasp on the rules at the time. More in line for me at the time would have been the Pokemon card game. Anyway, what ends up happening is Salem identifies that he actually has like a very similar game. It's kind of a funny twist. Like he has they're like actual magic cards that have actual demons on them. I love this snapshot of Sabrina finding the magic cards. It's a good frame. The story concludes that these actual magic cards, which she brings to show them, have actual demons, and these demons end up torturing some of the other characters. And Hilda needs to come in and save the day. I liked this first story. I thought it was a lot of fun. The spin of the magic cards and having actual magic cards, I thought that was funny. Then we've got a one page. There's a Salem story where he gets attacked by a banshee who used to be somebody that he knew in real life, and he kind of wronged, and now she's kind of out for revenge. I like Salem stories. I like a good, the guy was a scumbag and somebody's coming back for his comeuppance. And lastly, Sabrina gets sucked into a witch's game show, which does not end up going super well for her. It's a fun last little story. Some of the extras included here is some fan art, as well as the letters section and the editor's notebook. The editor's notebook talking about upcoming Archie comics. The comic that I reviewed yesterday actually had this exact same page. I have this issue. I kind of want this Betty and Veronica issue. It's ties into the upcoming presidential election, and it's about them going back in time and looking about how women had to fight for the right to vote. I think that sounds like fun. I was talking about how these letters are answered in character. So if you write into Betty, you're going to get actual good advice. If you got Betty and Veronica, like either one of them could answer, or you'll get like from both, and the advice like is generally pretty good. Cheryl Blossom's a little bit less good advice probably, and then these ones are like straight up, oh, we'll solve your problem with a magic spell. They don't give any actual advice whatsoever. Let's take a look at a couple of these. I have a friend who says she likes me, but I heard her tell someone that she doesn't like me. What should I do? Good kid problem. It sounds like your friend is acting kind of two-faced. Maybe she needs to see what it's like to actually have two faces. My two-face spell will give her a pair of faces, so she'll see what it's like to be two-faced. I'm sure he won't like the reaction she gets, and she'll go back to telling one story and sticking to it. Like not even close to actual advice, right? I have a best friend who sometimes talks to me rudely in front of the whole class. I wrote her letters asking to stop being rude to me, but she didn't listen. What should I do? It sounds like your friend could use some of the politeness spell I've been working on. I like this boy at school, but I think he doesn't like me. How can I make him like me? My love potion is almost perfect. The way it will work is you give it to the boy you like and he falls in love with the first person he sees. Just terrible advice. The letter section in all the other comics from the time are credited to Sarah Algaze. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this isn't attributed to anybody. So presumably it's the writers or someone didn't want to put their name on it. I'm not exactly sure, but they're funny. They're a good read. In general, I like these like silly, fun comic books with a good little twists that are pretty like simple and have different stories. I enjoyed this issue. I'm looking forward to rereading some of the other Sabrina comics.